right. I have a good one for you today. All right, we're buckled in. It's just us today. We're going to get the show rolling tonight. So we got a great one for you today on the MTL podcast for you. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs so far, how we're thinking about the conference finals. I got a little bit of probably too early NFL power rankings. We're just going to make ourselves look like a couple of dummies just picking it way too early. But, if you didn't say it now, did you really mean it at all? Finish it up with our classic rapid fire. Get everything that's off our chest. So moving forward, let's get the show rolling, Markyll. Have a good one. Hello, everyone. This is Lawrence from the MTL podcast for you. We're going to have a good show for you. So first things first, NBA. We got Nuggets and Lakers, and we got Miami Heat, and we got the Celtics. Both of them are a 3-0 series. So Markyll, I'll swing it over to you real quick. Who gets gentleman swept and who gets swept?
I think we're looking at two sweeps. I don't think we're going to have basketball past Tuesday night. So you guys better enjoy these last two games. We're recording on Monday night. So just watch these last two games and get ready for the finals June 1st.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better, my friend. I mean, I bet with the Celtics last night, just thinking there's no way they go down 3-0. There's just no way. There's no way the NBA is going to let two series in the conference finals go 4-0. I just thought, no way. So, in my opinion, I know that one of them is going to end up being a gentleman's sweep and another one's going to ended up being a sweep. There's just no way they're going to have both of them end in 4 games. If so, I mean, that's pretty incredible because it's going to be a miraculous and glorified final series between the 8th seed and the 1 seed, and everyone's going to go crazy over it. But we may end up having that tonight. I mean, what has been your take? We'll start with the Heat and Celtics series. I mean, why is it like this? Why is it so one-sided for the Heat?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at a lot of different issues. I think, and a lot of people want to do this, but a lot of people want to put the blame on Joe Mazzulla. His rookie head coach doesn't have playoff experience, although he was on the staff last year. Behind Ime Udoka, they, obviously got to the finals, played against the Warriors, lost in 6 games. But as a head coach, he doesn't really know, all of the right chess moves, the right lineups, stuff like that. So I do give Mazzulla some of the blame, maybe like a third. But I think the other 2/3 of the blame has to go to your two stars, your 2 all NBA guys, right? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I mean, they just haven't showed up. I mean, Jason Tatum hasn't scored field goals in consecutive fourth quarters in games 1, 2, and 3. And last night he didn't even play in the fourth quarter. So I mean, it's just not a good look for him. And then Jaylen Brown, I think he scored 23 the first game, but ever since he's just in the teens. Not really good from your second superstar. And Miami is just playing with a chip on the shoulder. And I mean, I kind of alluded to it back when we did our predictions, but I was like, yeah, I have Heat in 7, and the only way that we were going to get it done is if we steal a game in Boston. Little did we know we were going to steal 2 games in Boston. If you would have told me that, yeah, I would have said, all right, we're probably going to win this in 5. But they won a close game 1. They were down by, I think, as much as 13 late in that second quarter. They came back in the third quarter. I think that's when they outshot them like 45-17 or something like that. Let me pull up the box score. No, I think that was game 2. But anyway, yeah, outscored them in that third quarter. Went on the run. The game was still nick and tuck. And going to the 4th, but then Jimmy just brought us home for game 1. Game 2, more of the same. Double-digit lead the Celtics had. Miami just kept it close. Didn't let them, blow us out the gym, anything like that. And then same thing. Jimmy kept it close in the 4th, brought it home. More of a nail biter in my opinion, game 2. But then game 3 was just unexpected. You kind of already said it. Like they came into game 3, it's basically a must win because out of 149 teams that have been 0-3, none of them have come back to win a series. So it was a must win for Boston, and the effort they put out, like you could see at the jump, they just kind of like defeated almost. I mean, and I don't even know why. I know Missoula thinks it's his fault, and he, after the game in the post game press conferences, he was basically just telling all the reporters every question like, "Hey, like it's my fault. Didn't get the guys prepared. Whatever, whatever." I wasn't really buying that. Most of the media fans aren't buying it. Just for the simple fact that, I mean, if you look at his guys, especially the two superstars, they're the leaders of the locker room. They just didn't bring the energy and just got blown out. They were down by as much as 33 at one point. So I don't know, Lawrence. Celtics, they were probably, what do you think, the best team in the East, if not the second best team in the East, and definitely like a top 3 team in the league. And they just getting the asses handed to them by Miami, which, I mean, they're not a true number 8 seed anyway, but it's just not a good look. Not at all. What do you think?
I mean, coming into it, I thought Boston was like probably the third best, second best, like you said, team in the league. I kind of always thought that Denver was the best team. I've never bought into the Bucks, nor did I really buy into the Boston train. But the fact that Boston did just enough to take down, I thought was like the hotter team in the 76ers.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the fact that like you just got the MVP. Like, come on now. I think it's clear as day now that they got the MVP vote wrong. Obviously, Jokic is the best. Should have won it. That's neither here nor there. But you gave the guy a chance to get MVP. He blew it. Now you got the other guy who is in the running for MVP. He can't do it. I mean, it's very clear now who is like just basically been laid out as the front runner and should have won. And I just think that's kind of how it is. Looking at Boston right now, it's kind of a disappointment. Like we said for some of these other teams, like it's really just plain out disappointing. Because you went through this whole season, during the season you weren't the best defensive team, but you never looked this horrible. You never looked like the best offensive team, but you never looked this horrible. And they look like extra sad in comparison to they did in the 76ers series against arguably a better team. 76ers are probably a better team than the Heat. But you took that game to 7 games, sorry. That series to 7 games. You're not even going to get you're going to get at best the gentleman's sweep with this one. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just sad. And, they're going to do all they can, blame the coach, to coach this, to coach that. But the coach can get you a game plan, but coach doesn't affect energy. Energy is by the guys on the court. And yeah, I think they started the game a little hot. Like, they went off to a little lead. But at the beginning of the game, it looked like only Al Horford had energy out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
finally hit some threes.
Grant Williams hasn't been himself since he got in the face of Jimmy Butler and cost his team the game because he unleashed the beast. So,
Poke the bear.
I mean, it's just a little embarrassing. I think Boston takes Game 4, and I think they go home with this little height. They think they're gonna have a chance to bring the series back, and then Miami's just gonna kill them again.
Yeah.
I think Miami's just gonna let one slip. And to be fair, it's not gonna be that they let one slip. It's just that they should have lost one of these games. Like, let's be realistic. There's no reason they should have beaten. There's no reason they should have beaten the Celtics 3 times in a row already. They're not the better team than the Celtics. It's just that they're the more. It's hard to say. They have more chemistry than the Celtics, which shouldn't be a thing at all because that team for the Celtics has been around for at least 3 seasons now. They was in the NBA Finals last year,
and they already been to multiple conference finals. So I don't understand. Like, the moment's not too big for him, and it's not the coach because the coach was there last year. He was just an assistant. So like I said earlier, it's not the coach, not Missoula, but we will give him some blame. But it's a 2 stars, and now this is a question. A lot of people have been asking, do you believe that they should break him up? Because basically, after this season, you have to make the choice whether you want to commit $600 million between 2 guys. Me personally, I think you should split him up. What do you think?
You gotta let you gotta let one of them take over the team. I think you're obviously going to pick Jason Tatum
Yeah,
to take over the team. Um, I think that's probably the better decision. But if we're going to talk about, I don't know, overall better player, I kind of lean more Jaylen Brown, only because confidence is a big deal, and he has more confidence. It seems like night to night than Tatum does.
yeah,
But the only problem is, I think Brown's a little bit more selfish of a player than Tatum. So gotta take the good with the bad. But if I'm gonna try to build a team around someone, well, it really looks like that certain teams that do good every season so far, Nuggets, their best head star, he's unselfish. The Lakers, their two big stars are unselfish. So unselfishness does seem to trend in the good way. I mean, you got selfish teams like the the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, Jaws kind of hurts his team the hardest more than anyone. He's kind of plays selfishly a lot of the times.
yeah,
So I just think that you're going to have to go with the less selfish guy, and that's going to end up being Tatum. Brown's going to go somewhere, and he's going to become, you know, probably the second guy again. I don't know if someone's going to let Jaylen Brown be the focal point of their team, but
yeah,
I could easily see someone using him as a main point. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know if they can afford him, but Jaylen Brown would do really good at the Brooklyn Nets. Put him up with Mikal Bridges. They both can play defense and they both can play offense, but Mikal Bridges has been known as more notorious as being an unselfish player,
yeah,
and it allows Brown to be a little bit more selfish of a player. Um, you can say they're kind of the same thing again, but no, not really. I mean, Mikal Bridges likes to play that defense and doesn't want to have to be that, all eyes on me. I have to do everything for my team. Brown
yeah.
kind of wants that. If they can get someone, they can get another, I guess a big down there to help Claxton. I mean, they might have a team that can get back to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the smart way, keep Jason Tatum, give him his 300 plus million in another year or so.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta find a trade partner for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, like you said, he wants to be a number one option, and it's pretty evident every single year their skill gap keeps getting smaller. And you can honestly say this year they were neck and neck. I mean, one was all NBA first team, the other was all NBA second team.
Yep.
So it's closer than it's ever been. So you basically have 2 alphas on the same team. And so I don't think Jaylen Brown can play with another alpha unless it's like like a definitive alpha, like a Giannis or like a LeBron or like a Kevin Durant. Those guys he can play with, but other than that, he needs to be the guy. So I don't know, Celtics fans. I think one of your guys is going to be on the move. So I hate to say it, but I think this is the last that we see of these two because it just hasn't produced results. And you don't want to pay 2 guys a bunch of money just for what? Keep going to conference finals every year. Maybe one year you get lucky and you break through, but then you lose in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm not paying that money.
So I guess moving on after that one is Denver Lakers. I mean, I picked Denver. I didn't see it looking like this.
Me
I
neither.
had more of a, Denver and six kind of feel.
Yeah, yeah.
But it would appear that the goat can't goat a bum team by himself. I'm not gonna say they're all bums. I just kind of think certain players are. Um, you mentioned it a little earlier, and we talked about it a little bit. I mean, the fact that D'Angelo Russell is even in this starting lineup. I can see him throwing him off the bench, maybe if he gets his act together. But him in the starting lineup, it just does not work for me, in my opinion.
No.
There's certain other guys that I'm just not getting that. Like, I want to be here. I got to do everything to make this happen kind of vibe. Like, they're not playing the same way they were playing the first two series. It's very evident. I mean, the only guy that really wants to be there, when you look at it game in, game out, game in, game out, is Austin Reeves. He's the only guy that looks like he truly wants to be there.
You can throw in Rui. Rui's been playing.
Oh, sorry.
Super good.
Rui and Austin are the only two that have looked like, yeah, why I want to be here. I want to win this game. LeBron just kind of shuts down because he's 38 years old. He's kind of a little banged up. Anthony Davis is not dominating Jokic like they think he's going to. Jokic is consistently beating him in the assist department to make up for the scoring differential. Because Anthony Davis is scoring more points than he is, but Jokic is also getting 6 to 8 more assists a game. So he's getting other guys involved. And that's also because we've noticed it a few times now in these games that wide open is KCP and Michael Porter Jr. and Bruce Brown, because they decide to let's train all our eyes on Murray and Jokic. And you don't think KCP's is going to light you up? Because I don't understand how LeBron doesn't know that, because LeBron played a whole year with them and won a title with them.
Yeah.
I mean, KCP is obviously nothing exceptional, but if you let a guy sit wide open at the 3-point line consistently, he's just going to drain threes, because that's what he can do. So Bruce Brown is looking amazing off the bench. So, I mean, they have other guys coming off the bench for them as well. And like, what is it? I think it's like his name, Christian Braun.
Conchar.
He's just doing everything he wanted to do. Just go out there and play hustle. He doesn't score points. He gets rebounds, and he hustles for the ball. And you look at the bench for the Lakers. The only one who hustles is Rui, but they think they started in the last game. So the only one who really hustles is Vanderbilt, which he should be starting. He should be starting.
I think he did start last game. I think Rui still comes off the bench. That changes tonight, I think. But
I think you just need to stop. You need to let LeBron play point. Because when you let LeBron play point versus Murray, he's dominating Murray when he plays point. But the problem is they can't put LeBron on Murray to guard. But
he's getting cooked. Getting cooked.
Murray's just too young and fast for him. LeBron can beat him up, though. LeBron can keep him from getting in the paint, driving the paint. But if he if he gets a head of steam on LeBron, it's kind of over. But, I think it's in those moments that I think it's most important. When Jokic is bringing the ball up is when Murray's at his most dangerous, because he's got time to build up speed, and then Jokic is going to get him that ball in a perfect spot.
These dribble handoffs are just killing the Lakers.
So you need to just keep putting. It worked in game 1 when they put really on Jokic up the court.
Yeah,
should focus that a little bit more. Stop making AD play around and just make him play in that paint and get rebounds like they did in game 2. There's been certain things in each game that they've done right. They just haven't put it all together in every single game. Which is why I think they will also get gentlemen swept. I think tonight that they just throw it all out there, and they make sure they get at least one game, and they make sure the LA crowd is happy, and then they'll ride off into the sunset of Denver and get smacked at home or smacked on the road.
Yeah, see, I'm not that optimistic. I think they get smacked again. They get smacked again tonight. It'll be a closer game than game 3. I feel like tonight they'll probably lose by like 2 or 3. But yeah, another series. I said, the rookie head coach, didn't deserve too much of the blame. We're throwing it out the window. Darvin Ham deserves like 75% of the blame. I know he's rookie head coach. I know he was assistant for many, many years. Coach Giannis. won a championship with the Bucks a couple years ago. Has championship pedigree. Everyone respects him. But let me tell you, man, this man makes the most boneheaded decisions I've ever seen. With all of not that the Lakers are super deep, but they don't they have enough depth so that you can actually make smart lineup decisions. And this man consistently makes dumb fucking lineups. Excuse my language. This man makes dumb lineups. Why in game one, coming off the Memphis series, are you going to keep that same lineup of D'Angelo, Dennis, and Austin Reeves against Denver, which every guy is 6'3" and up? It makes zero sense. That alone probably cost the Lakers that game, even though Jokic was cooking the first half, and there was nothing they could do to stop that. But once he cooled off, if we could have mitigated some of that with just throwing Rui on him like we thought they were going to do, he probably wouldn't have cooked as much. So, I mean, the Lakers probably going to lose that game anyway, but at least if they would have found out earlier in that game, hey, Rui can actually stop or can help to slow down Jokic more. You can have AD roam in the paint off of Gordon because Gordon has been shooting terrible from three. He can just come from the weak side and get those easy blocks like he did in game one and two. If they would have figured that out early game one, they would be in a much better spot now as opposed to what they are right now. So game two, it was close, but for some reason he puts Vando instead of Rui. And I understand Vando is another big body and he can guard 1 through 5 basically, but I mean, we saw the same game Darvin Ham was there seeing. Bro, Rui on Jokic was working. Why did you not have this man starting from the jump? And I know you need firepower off the bench, but that's why you gave Lonnie Walker those minutes in the Grizzlies series. And Lonnie Walker single-handedly won you a game. So, okay, Lonnie Walker has his confidence back. Just bring him the first guy off the bench. Vando's second guy off the bench. And then, I don't know, bring D'Lo, because D'Lo's been playing horrible all playoffs. Just stagger those minutes so your second unit is somewhat offensively capable. And you're always going to have either LeBron or AD in that lineup, so the lineups are not going to be that bad. So D-Ham gets 75% of the blame. Leaving D'Lo in there too much. Game 3, D'Lo was starting in the third quarter, and this man is just missing every shot. He's providing nothing. If he can't play defense, he never could play defense. And now he's just shooting awful from the field in the playoffs. Just looking at his numbers, game 3, Russell was 1 for 8 in 20 minutes. All right, game 2, D'Lo was 3 of 8, 1 of 5 from 3 for 10 points. What can you do with that? And then game 1, look, 4 of 11 in 26 minutes, 0 from 3, 0 from 3 from 3-point line, 8 points, a minus 25. The writing's on the wall. He's not playing well. Play him. If he's starting to play bad, like usual, just yank him. Put Dennis in. At least Dennis plays defense. So, yeah, 75% goes to D-Ham. The other 25% goes to LeBron and AD. I know LeBron's banged up, but that's no excuse. He's still out there. You gotta play how we know LeBron can play. We know you're capable of giving us 30. I know your ankle hurts. Suck it up. Drive to the basket. Stop shooting threes. All those threes cost you game 2, to be honest. So stop shooting threes. At most, take 2 or 3. Drive to the basket. Anthony Davis, you got to dominate for all 4 quarters. Don't pick and choose your spots when you want to dominate. AD had a good game 1, 40 and 10. Game 2 fell off, 18 and 14, and then game 3, 28 and 18. That's a great game for him, but all in all, it's basically D-Ham and his lack of smarts and the lack of superstar play from your two big guys, because the Denver's 2 big guys, Murray and Jokic, they're cooking. And that's what I said in the previews. Hey, it's going to come down to which big 2 is going to play better and which role players are going to play better. In this series, you can actually say the role players have pretty much played equally on both sides. KCP, Michael Porter Jr. has been playing well. On the Lakers, Rui and Austin Reeves, and occasionally Lonnie Walker will give you some points. They've been playing well. So really, it's just been down to the stars, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the only edge you give to anyone is the bench, really, and that's just because Bruce Brown has proven he's beyond better than anyone coming off the bench for the Lakers, which isn't really fair because, you know, the Lakers have certain guys coming off the bench who would do better in a more starting role in this series. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers aren't built for a team like, you know, they're not built for a team like Denver. And I think Denver strategically built their team this way for multiple seasons now to handle certain teams. Like, you know, we're seeing right now the 49, or not for the Lakers. I don't know why. I'm thinking about football for the next subject. They've built this team to handle certain teams over there and in the West. Like, they handled Phoenix for a reason. They're handling the Lakers for a reason. You know, we can't really say, but they handled Minnesota without a problem for a reason. I mean,
they swept them.
They smacked all these teams for a reason. They built themselves to be able to do this. You know, every single person on your starting unit can play defense, whether it's great defense or not. They can play defense. It's more than you can say for the Lakers starting unit. All of them can play offense in some form or fashion. I mean, if you're going out there and your worst offensive scorer is Aaron Gordon, but then you have to be afraid of him dunking on you, you know, 40 times a game if you give him the chance because you leave him open. Yeah, well, that's kind of scary too. So
getting offensive rebounds left and right.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Gordon's a beast at doing certain things right. I mean, if I decide to take all my energy on everyone else and I can't even go out there and be like, kind of what the Denver Nuggets are doing to kind of what the Denver's doing to Vanderbilt when he plays. Like, there's like, okay, whatever, dude. They can't do that to Aaron Gordon. They can't do that to Bruce Brown. The only one they can do that to is Braun over there in the corner. So, but he's just out there for hustle. So,
yeah.
Why are you being a nuisance? All right. Well, that wraps up our Denver Nuggets. That wraps up our Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and Celtics series. Is, you know, they're not the best series we've ever seen. You know, sometimes people tell you to enjoy the ride while it lasts. Well, if you're from some of the fans of these, you know, teams getting blown out right now, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed the series before. All right. Next, we'll bring you NFL. All right, everyone. We got NFL power rankings, making ourselves look like, you know, dumbasses before the season even starts. We're going to try to break it down. You know, my boy Markyll is going to do a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit. We got two different styles in which we're going to tackle this. You know, you want me to go first or you want to hit it off?
I do my first five and then you want to do your five after?
Well, I'm going to shit on the whole league, so you do whatever you want to do.
You gonna do that?
Everyone's getting hate from me. No one's safe. One's safe.
So in today's episode, we're gonna do 1 through 10. So from 1 being the best team in the NFL to 10 being the beginning of the middle of the pack, right? So
yeah,
my number 1 Super Bowl winners, the Chiefs. They got Patty Mahomes. They got Andy Reid. They got Travis Kelce. It's pretty much a no-brainer. They added some defensive guys. That their first round pick, defensive guy, defensive end, which they needed because they had Frank Clark leave, I think, and then Carlos, what's that? Dunlap, he left as well. So they've got some defensive depth. Drafted a couple wideouts, so we'll see how they integrate into the offense after Hardman and Juju left. So we'll see how the offense looks. It's still probably going to be pretty fluid, pretty high-powered. Probably going to put up 30 points a game. But I got them at number 1. Number 2, got the NFC Championship winners, the Eagles. Eagles added more firepower in the draft. They got Nolan Smith. They got Jalen Carter. They got It wasn't even that long ago. I forgot who they got, but I just know they got some good players. And they got Jalen Hurts, the runner up for MVP. He's gonna come back better. Shoulder's gonna feel better, so expect some more long bombs from Jalen Hurts. And you got another year of the chemistry between Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. And you got some new running backs into the mix, so maybe they'll produce a little bit better than Miles Sanders gave them last year. Number 3, my Cincinnati Bengals. We got, defensive end from Clemson, Miles Murphy. We drafted DJ Hill from Michigan, shored up the defensive backs. Waziwe, I think I'm saying his name right. He should be back from injury. Our other starting corner after Eli Apple's gone. Jesse Bates left, and so did what's the other guy's name?
Von Bell.
Bell, he left as well. So we got some guys who replace him. So the defense might be a little suspect, but the offense is still going to be there, putting up points right there with the Chiefs and the Eagles as a high-powered offense. When you got Burrow, when you got Chase, when you got Higgins, you got Boyd, you got this guy out of Purdue we drafted, Charlie Jones. I think it's going to be another year of high-powered offense for the Bengals. At number 4, I'm going to put down the 49ers. I mean, they're basically a quarterback away from really competing in that NFC Championship game last year. The book is still out if Brock Purdy's going to be back. Trey Lance, we really haven't heard much from Trey Lance. We know he's going to compete for the starting job, but they also brought in Sam Darnold, I'm pretty sure. So there's a lot of QB drama kind of stirring up in San Francisco, and with Kyle Shanahan, you never know what kind of tactics or schemes he's going to pull. So we'll see. The defense is still going to be pretty elite. They still got Christian McCaffrey. So there's still something to build off of there from last year. And to round out the 5, I got the Bills. Yeah, Josh Allen had a stinker against Cincinnati. Even though he played at home in the type of weather that should be accustomed to playing. Josh Allen's probably still a top 3 quarterback, top 4 quarterback. The Bills' offense is still high-powered. They drafted the tight end, Dalton Kincaid. He should only help the offense. You still got Dawson Knox. You still got Diggs. I still think they have a shot at making the Super Bowls, and probably the third best team in the AFC, unless you're on the Jets bandwagon. But that rounds out my top 5. What you got for me?
That was a cute little top 5. So sorry, it's gonna be a little bit before you go again. I didn't break down everybody, but I wrote down most teams and I categorized them in certain levels. And kind of how I did it was okay. So I got my poopers. I'm calling them poopers. These teams are just gonna be poop. I don't see any of these teams making any kind of run, make any kind of splash. Let's just face it, these teams are poop. Colts, Texans, Cardinals, Bears, Packers, Falcons, Browns, Bucks. You didn't hear it? Colts, Texans, Cardinals, Bears, Packers, Falcons, Browns, Bucks. All poop. They're all poopers. No chances. Just go home and see another year. The only one who's in that league is the Browns that can do anything, but I don't think Deshaun Watson's any good anymore. I just didn't see it at all last year. You also paid a guy who didn't. We think he deserved it, but then he did some weird stuff, and now we don't think he deserves it. And you paid him a lot of money. You paid him a whole lot of money. And the whole thing is, when you pay someone a whole lot of money, they tend not to be really good for a little bit because they've got that fat bag, so they don't care. Next in the meh. These guys are meh. I put the Browns in here again. They're either going to be poopers or they're going to be meh. That's where they're falling in here. I got the Vikings. I got the Saints. I got the Rams. I got the Broncos. I got the Titans. I got the Raiders. I got the Commanders. I got the Patriots. And I got the Seahawks. And I got the Giants. If you didn't hear that again, I got the Vikings, Saints, Rams, Broncos, Titans, Raiders, Commanders, Patriots, Seattle, and Giants. I got the Dolphins teeter-tottering. between my next category, which is maybe not noobs. Maybe these teams will be good. Maybe they're not going to be noobs. I got the Jets, Panthers, Lions, Ravens, Chargers, Steelers. I mean, I just don't know. I got the Jets in here mainly because I think they're like 1 or 12. I mean, I'm sorry, they're 11 or 12 in the power ranking. I mean, I thought last year that if they just didn't have a shitty quarterback, they'd have been okay. I put them higher in my power rankings. I know a lot of people are going to put them 11, 12. I put them higher. Panthers. I mean, we would have won. We would have won more games last year if we had a decent quarterback. Now we got a decent quarterback. Lions. I get what we all want to say about, oh man, they had a horrible draft. I thought their draft was okay, but you look at their division, they don't have to play anybody. They don't have to play anybody. They're playing the Bears, they're playing the Packers, and they're playing the Vikings. Hardest person in that division is the Vikings. The Lions have an easy schedule here to go 5-6 just based on their division. That automatically makes your record look better and makes your power ranking look better. So I'll break it down like you did, your top 5. I got my Eagles, number 1. I think they're a little bit better defensively than they were last year. I think offensively they're going to be about the same, which is going to allow people to figure them out just a little bit, which may become a problem for them. I think running the ball wise, I don't think they're going to be as good. I think they went one more year too long with their tight end. I just don't know if their tight end's going to hold up by the end of the season. I'm pretty sure their tight end's still Goddard. In the past, he's always been known to get injured a lot. Last year they got blessed and he didn't get hurt. I think you just went one season too long with him being your focal point tight end and no real backup to him at all. Number 2, I put the Bills. I think the one things they did right in the draft is go after running back and go after some offensive line. Obviously, your weakest point in your whole offense is O-line, and running back. Focusing up that a little bit was smart. It was the right strategic thing to do. I also will crap on him for this. I don't think you have any good wide receivers outside of Stephon Diggs and maybe Dawson Knox every once in a while. But, like, come on. Gabe Davis is hit or miss every other game. Isaiah McKenzie's hit or miss every other game. I mean, it would have been nice to see him get another weapon. Then we can't say anything about the Bills if they have another weapon out there. Because at that point, if they're just not competing and winning, it's on Josh Allen. Number 3, I put the Bengals. I still think the wrong weak point with the team is the O-line. But I won't crap on it too hard because at least they're trying to figure that out. The Bengals are definitely a team we got to do something now. We got to win now. We got to get our bang for this cheap buck now before we can't get it later, because we're gonna pay Chase and we're gonna pay Burrow. Unless Higgins wants to take a pay cut, which I wouldn't. I want the bag. Unless Higgins wants the pay cut, you're gonna be rocking in the future with Boyd and Chase. No fault to that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a fine lineup. I thought you needed a tight end. Didn't go tight end. So that's my only questions here on that team. Mind you, I'm not talking good about anyone yet. I'm only going to talk about the bad. So next, I got number 4 is the Chiefs. I think the Bengals are a better team than the Chiefs this year, and the Bengals have proven they can beat the Chiefs. So I think if we get into another heated back and forth situation in that category, I think the Bengals are going to take care of the Chiefs this time. I think the Bengals corner room is just a little better than what the Chiefs wide receiver room is going to look like. And if the Bengals can find a way to stop Travis Kelce for 2 quarters out of 4, I think they'll win that game. So moving forward, I think the Chiefs, again, this year defensively are going to be hit or miss certain games, and it's going to be based on the fact of how many points they can score. and with basically a whole new regimen at wide receiver, and a lot of them being rookies that are, we don't know the hell they are, and you got Sky Moore as your basically your number one almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really like it, but you got a quarterback gunslinger that can make him get open. You got a good running game, and you got one of the best tight ends ever. So I won't crap on them too hard because there is a certain mentality they know how to win with, and I think they just do it right. And at number 5, I think the only team that's currently I haven't shit on yet that I'll talk a little praise of is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At
I got them
5?
at 5. I just think they did everything right in the draft. They didn't do a whole lot of wrong in the draft. They're constantly building that O-line so Lawrence can take time in the pocket. They developed a nice little wide receiver core around him. They got him a good running game. Now all they had to do this offseason was focus a little bit more on the defensive side. I would like a little bit more defense on this team, and I think that will probably be the one focal point that, somewhere in this season they need to tackle is that defensive linebacker position. I think safety-wise, they're fine. They're pretty good. Corner-wise, they'll be okay. They'll win enough games. I have them so high because you look at their conference, their division, Colts, Texans, and Titans. You got 2 poopers and 1 meh. They're easily going to go 5-6, 6-6 in that division. So they're going to smack the hell out of the division. They're basically just going to look. They're going to have like filler. They're going to look better than what their record actually is. I mean, they're going to look better than their record shows. So I just think the Jags are at number 5 only because that division is just going to make them look a lot better than they actually are. And you look at who they play outside of the division. I mean, they're playing the NFC South as well. I don't think the NFC South is too high. They're going to smack around the NFC South. So they're going to basically get 8 to 10 wins just from those 2 divisions. They're just going to look better than their record actually is. That's just what I think. That's why I got them at 5.
Okay, a little higher than I do, but I won't, I won't argue.
I don't think they're going to be, a true 5 power ranking, but record-wise, they're going to be a true 5 because they're just playing more pooper teams.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I guess I'll take over at 6. At 6, I have another AFC North team. I got the Ravens. They got their guy back. They got Lamar. They got Odell. They signed or they drafted. Who was it? Was it Zay Flowers? Did they get Zay Flowers?
Mm-hmm.
They got one. They got Zay Flowers. They signed Roquan Smith to a long-term deal. Queen, he's pretty much playing on his last year of his deal, so he's going to play well. I mean, the defense is already pretty stacked, already played pretty well. I think they drafted a corner as well, or no? I think they signed a corner. So they helped their defensive back, which at times were suspect. A lot of teams could torch them if the opportunity presented itself. But I mean, basically the Ravens were Lamar Jackson, away from potentially upsetting us, the Bengals. So I think with him back, him locked in with OBJ, with this rookie, I think they'll make some things happen this year, even though the AFC North will be tough. At 7, I have the Chargers. I think with another year, Justin Herbert will mature, won't make too many bonehead mistakes. I think they got rid of their offensive coordinator, right? Or was it their defensive one?
Who?
Chargers. I think it was the offensive, the OC, right?
They got rid of the OC.
Yeah, so the OC's gone. They got a new guy in. Hopefully he can kind of revamp the offense. You still got, the situation with Austin Eckler. Hopefully they can come to some terms into the contract, maybe give him some more money, make him happy so he can come back, contribute. But yeah, Chargers, they basically just let the Jags come back into that game last year. They should have won. So we'll see another year. Everyone's more mature. Everyone can be more healthy. Hopefully Mike Williams and Keenan Allen don't get hurt again like usual. That was 7. So 8. Unfortunately, I have to go with the Cowboys. Cowboys are probably going to win the division again. The Giants got better, but are they really contenders in the NFC East? I don't think so. The Commanders, yeah, they got rid of their owner. Josh Harris is going to come in sometime, probably before the season, maybe the first couple of weeks. So we'll see if the atmosphere has changed. But I mean, I think the Cowboys are the best in the division. Another year of elite defense. Micah Parsons carrying that defense. Pollard's going to be out most likely, maybe for the first week or two. We'll see. But I mean, they're going to dominate the division and probably get to another 12-5 record like usual. Number 9, I have the Jets. You already said it earlier. The Jets are pretty much a quarterback away from being decent. They got a decent quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, he kind of rebounds from his pretty much pathetic season last year, by his standards at least. So I got them at 9. And at 10, I have the Jags, only because another year, what's that guy's name? Why am I blanking on everyone's names? Trevor Lawrence, another year of him. I think it'll be his 3rd year. Another year being a starter. They still got ETN. They still got Kirk. So another year building chemistry. They added some pieces. Like you said, their schedule is kind of easy, so they're probably going to win at an easy 10 games just from the poop teams, and slip their way into the playoffs. So that's my top 10.
All right. Back on the haterade train. At number 6, I put the 49ers. They slipped a lot further for me than they did for you. I think they're only going to be 6 because the division is weak. Now people are going to say I'm a hating, but I mean, I don't think the Seahawks are going to be that good this year. Everyone wants to talk about how good Geno Smith was last year, which he was. He was really good. He did a great season. Only problem with Geno Smith is you could tell by the end of the season in those final 4 games when they were trying to win, they needed to win. Teams figured him out. He's still Geno Smith at the end of the day. He still has a ceiling. He went above his ceiling at the beginning of the season. He was just a little bit more accurate than normal. But he came back down to earth when teams started, putting more pressure on him. And the fact that the O line is not glorious, they didn't make the goal line any better. So it's going to allow a team like the 49ers who, they get to the pressure. They get pressure on the quarterback. It is one of those things that they're going to dominate other people in their division like that. And the 49ers are also going to be skewed with the fact they get to play the Cardinals twice. Boom, boom, 2 wins. Easy. They're going to play the Seahawks twice. They match up well against the Seahawks. Boom, boom, 2 wins. Easy. And then lastly, you got the Rams. Even when the Rams were good, the 49ers were still beating them. And the Rams are basically on that pooper to mess scale. So, boom, boom. We're talking about 5 to 6 wins just because your quarterback is going to be Sam Darnold, who just takes care of the ball. And let's face it, all Sam Darnold has to do is take care of the ball. What did Brock Purdy do the whole time he was there? Took care of the ball.
Take care of the ball.
So, obviously, they're going to win with their defense, who's obviously, let's not be too crazy here. That defense is going to take a step back. Your defensive coordinator is now in the Texans head coach for a reason. He's freaking good. Now his assistant took over, so we'll see how his assistant does. But their head coach is really, really, really good at offense, and he makes sure he stays on that side of the ball. Now it's his defensive side that he had held down for a little bit. Now he's going to have to figure that out and get some guy in there, or get the guy that's in there now ready to go for the season. So I think 49ers defensively are going to take a step back, playing teams outside of their own division, which is why I got them down here at 6. They might be lower. 7, I got the Jets. I got them a little higher than you do. I just think Aaron Rodgers is going to be that guy this year with them. I think they're going to take 1 game from the Bills. So that's going to make their record look a little better. I think they're going to keep pace with the Bills for most of the season. They're just going to be a little short, but that's okay with them because I think the Jets know that all I need is a chance, and I can make it happen. Aaron Rodgers is notoriously choked it in the playoffs when he plays at home. So maybe not winning and, having to play on the road the whole time will give him a better edge. I think the Jets defensively, outside of a linebacking core, stout, great all across the board. Safeties, corners, defensive line, all great. I think their main weak point, they don't have many linebackers. I get it. Demario Davis is your guy. You paid him the money to be that guy. My only issue with that is he gets hurt a lot. So he's never really there for the whole season. I got number 8. I sided with you again. Cowgirls. I just think that they're a teaser team. They like to tease you with the fact that they can be good. Play around with the thought that they can be good, and then they just ruin it. I think they'll be a playoff team. I think they'll probably be the 5th seed in the wild card. I don't think it's going to be one of those close races in the wild card either. I think they're going to solidify that 5th seed. I don't see them catching the Eagles to get the number 1 or number 2 or whatever the top seeds are for the NFC that division might fall into play with. But I think they're going to battle each other hard throughout the season. If we look at their schedule real quick, they play Philadelphia in I can't see what week that is. Week 8 and week 13. So I think it'll be interesting. Both of them went 4-2 last year, taking games away from each other once and then losing outside of the division. I'm pretty sure both of them lost to the Commanders. So
yeah.
I just think the Cowboys are that team every year. They just get it, and they make us think they're so good, but they're just not. I think offensive line, I said it during the draft, they didn't do anything to improve it in the offseason. They didn't do anything to improve the O-line in the draft. Dak Prescott's going to get a little bit more beat up this year just because, your O-line is getting a little older. I also think that Tony Pollard is going to suffer a little bit more because the O-line is not going to be as solid the whole season through. Number 9, I got the Chargers. Only problem with the Chargers is every single season they get hurt. They just seem like they're just a team. Maybe it's the field, maybe it's a training ground. There's just something that they have that needs to be changed. They just get hurt way too often for it to be okay. And I think that's the main problem with the team is that every single season you have these hopes and expectations for the season, and then it doesn't pan out because you lost half your team by week 12, week 13. So I think it's a constant, escalator of hope just to come immediately right back down off the cliff. So I have the Chargers here at 9, just for what could be if it all stays together. You look at last season, they're ranked 30th in run defense. That doesn't cut it. No. Did they boost the defensive line either this offseason? No. They didn't boost defensive line, and they didn't boost their O-line really too much. I just didn't like that first round pick with the wide receiver. I thought you had 2 good ones that you should, pray stay healthy and not try to, plan for the future when they're not. Then lastly at number 10, I went since you had the Ravens in your top 10, I decided to leave the Ravens at 11. And I went a little spicy one just because I want to be spicy. And I'm following my pattern from earlier. I got the Lions at number 10.
Oh, okay.
Only because if we look back over here at the poopers, the Lions are going to play the Bears and the Packers, which are both in the pooper category. So then they get to play the Vikings. So I put the Lions at number 10. They're also part of my maybe not noobs category. I think they're going to be one of those teams that's just maybe not bad, maybe not great. I think they'll win the division just because they should get 5 wins from their division. Cornerback wise, not the best, not the worst. Linebacker wise, I think they're one of the best. Defensive lines, I think they're pretty good. I wouldn't say they're incredible. But safety wise, I think they're pretty good. So overall, defensive wise, pretty good. Now we're going to talk about offense. Maybe they took a running back a little too early, but he also kind of looked good in college. You look by their first 4 picks. They went Alabama, Iowa, Iowa, Alabama, and they did certain things in each category that those 2 teams do really good at. Alabama will always give you a good running back. Iowa will always give you a good linebacker. Iowa will always give you a good tight end. And Alabama is always good to give you a good secondary player. Besides D. Milner, Alabama will always give you something kind of good out there in the defense and, running back realm. And Iowa will always give you a good tight end because, shit, they're just a factory for it.
Yeah.
So I think they did everything right. I do think that O-line is pretty solid. They could have, maybe touched it a little bit more than they did, but they did draft a little later on. So they got backups to come in there. I just think something about the team that's going to be a little lackluster when it comes to playoff time, because they're probably going to be in that hunt for it. Is their secondary going to be able to stop anybody? It's good for the division they're playing, but when you're going to be playing the Cowboys or the Eagles or the 49ers, well, I don't know about the 49ers, but when you're playing those kind of teams in the playoffs, no, I'll put the 49ers in there. When you're playing those kind of teams, are you going to be able to stop them? To even, if I have Jared Goff put up 30 points, is 30 points going to be good enough? That kind of thing. That's the only thing I question about the Lions is I think they can get the 30 points, but is 30 points enough? 30 points should be enough, but will it be enough?
Good. I like the second half of the top 10. He has some spicy ones in there. Definitely the Lions I wasn't expecting. I was thinking middle of the road, but I do agree they could slip in with their schedule.
I kind of, so when you're looking at it like these, it's hard to tell what that top 10 is going to be like. So I'm just kind of looking more towards that division, and whose division is just not good. Strength of schedule.
Yeah.
My only problem with putting the Ravens in the top 10 is, outside, they're going to play the Bengals twice, and they're going to play the Steelers twice. The Steelers are a tough game. I don't care if the Steelers are bad. The Steelers are a tough game. So
tough out.
You're looking at 2 to 3 losses just in those 2 teams, which, and you're going to look at some of the other teams that they're going to play. We look at it real quick here with the Ravens, because the Ravens are my only team that I'm like, I kind of want to put them up here at the top, but I'm also too skittish. Another team everyone talks so highly of is the Dolphins. Don't get me wrong. I think the Dolphins are okay. My only problem with the Dolphins then lies in the fact that, you're going to rock the season with Tua again, and then your backup to him is going to be Mike White. I get it. Mike White kind of fits. He kind of fits. But he's also injury prone too. But gunslingers are good when you got 2 guys who are speedy as them. But the Ravens are gonna be one of these teams. You look at their schedule: Houston, Bengals, Colts, Browns, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Detroit, Arizona. They're gonna start the season off really hot. And then they're gonna have the second half of the season in which they've played Bengals, Chargers, Rams, Jacksonville, 49ers, Miami, and Pittsburgh. The second half of the season is rough. It's just straight rough. And a lot of those games are on the road. They're playing the Chargers, Jags, 49ers on the road. So it's always a tough one when the final game of the season for you is facing Pittsburgh, because even if they're not in it, they're so willing to knock you out of it. I like the Zay Flowers pickup. My only issue, it's like, okay, your wide receiving core is Zay Flowers, Devin Duvernay, Rashawn Bateman, and Odell Beckham Jr. I don't really think it's a beautiful wide receiving core. I think
A
you're
bunch of
gonna
number one picks.
I think you're gonna rely a lot on Mark Andrews, which that's fine. He's pretty good. I think one player they need to put a little bit more weight on is Isaiah Likely. He had a good season last year. Let's see what he can do for real. And I mean that works out for that team to do a 2 tight end set. If they start running 2 tight end set every other play, because Isaiah Likely can catch the ball and pass block. Mark Andrews can catch a ball and pass block. You keep them both healthy and you can run a 2 tight end set. You're a little scary, and you will crack the top 10. And then you don't have to rely on your wide receivers every other play. So, and then you can get your running game involved. I think that'll also be another kryptonite for the Ravens is the fact that I don't think they have a really great running back. They just have mediocre ones that look better because of Lamar Jackson. So that's wraps up for our NFL countdown. Sorry I didn't get to talk more about the Panthers, my guys. They're just not a top 10 team.
Maybe next week.
Maybe sometime I'll be able to talk about them, show them some love. I think they're a lot better than most people are saying they are. There's also a lot of teams I think no one's getting a little love to, which they should. I'll give those teams a little shout out right now. Like the Steelers need a little bit more love. They're doing, according to the draft, they did everything pretty much right that you should ask. I know I pooped on the Giants. That's just because their defense is. I mean, their conference is really good. Their division is really good. I don't think they deserve all the hate that they're getting. I kind of want to say the Titans, but I don't know. I can't go another season with Tannehill and hoping that team's any good. And then lastly, a team that we're just going to say is probably not very good, and we'll see you in rapid fire, and that's the Raiders. All right, so we're going to knock these bad boys out with you. True rapid fire right now. So first things first, I talked to you about the Raiders before we went to a little hiatus right there. I said Raiders. I was talking about some teams. You need some love, maybe some hate. Raiders. Devontae Adams isn't happy. And he's your star guy. Outside of Josh Jacobs, he's probably your only good player on that offense. I mean, people might try to say Jimmy G. That's just the ladies out there in the crowd. They're just trying to stir up some magic for him because, he's Mr. Good Looking. He's Mr. Sexy. I can't say anything but hate because, I wish I was that sexy. But the way he plays, isn't too far off. I'm not going to say he's a Derek Carr, but isn't the most far off from Derek Carr. I mean, they're kind of more of a, let's make the game. We'll have the game come to us. We'll make things happen as they go. But he's not like an all-star quarterback. And it's come out that Devontae Adams isn't happy in which the way the offense is going to go. Which, if you think about it, they're picking up Jimmy G. So Jimmy G was there when Josh McDaniels was over there at the Patriots. And the way the Patriots are run is kind of slant screens down the field, short baby passes, get the whole team involved. Devontae Adams apparently isn't happy with the way the team is getting drawn up for offense. What is your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, and rightfully so, right? Devontae's used to the style of Derek Carr and Rodgers. They're kind of similar, like they like to drive the ball down the field. Yeah, they got their short to intermediate passes, but I mean, Derek Carr really pushed the ball down the field last year with Devontae Adams after he realized that Devontae is actually probably the best wideout still in the NFL after, probably about 3 years of being the best, right? So once he figured that out, you can kind of see their college, chemistry come back. But now that he's lost his guy, Carr is back in New Orleans. Jimmy G walked in the door. And with Josh, like you said, Josh McDaniels loves his short passes. Jimmy G, growing up in that Patriot system, kind of loves the same thing. And rightfully so, like Devontae, his route tree is complete. He can run all the routes. Your slants, your comebacks, your hitches, your goes, slant and goes, post corner. Like the man does it all, right? So I mean, if I was a number one receiver on what was last year, I mean, they were kind of high powered. They had Waller, they had Renfro, they had Josh Jacobs. He led the league in rushing last year, I'm pretty sure. He's probably going to want to keep that same high tempo, pushing the ball down the field. But Josh McDaniels is probably going to be more methodical with Jimmy G, because Jimmy G is, hey, he's just a guy to get the job done. Very reminiscent of Alex Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make mistakes, really. Can do the short passes. Hey, if you need a 10 to 15-yard pass, he can do that too, but he's not taking any risk. So, I don't know. His contract is too big to trade, right? I mean, he's the highest paid receiver, right? So, it's going to be a lot to move him, even though he's he's making it known that he wants to be moved, but I just don't see a situation where they move off that contract or anyone wants to kind of pay up the whatever kind of fee that, the Raiders want for him. So he's just going to have to suck it up, I think.
I can see if he's very disgruntled and the team's not very good. A team that has one of these younger QBs trying to bring him in order to revamp the offense. Or not revamp, to try to, I guess, maybe inspire or give one of their younger guys,
weapons,
a weapon. But I think that's also going to mean the Raiders are going to have to eat some of that contract, which, they might have to in order to get some, a first. Maybe someone gives them a first round pick and a third round pick or 2 seconds.
Oh, no. I think Devontae is probably a first and a second at least, if not 2 firsts.
Maybe just because of his Iron Man status of never really getting hurt. You can't say that he does get hurt a little bit. But I also look at that Christian McCaffrey trade and how the Carolina Panthers got 2 seconds and a fourth for him. So I'm kind of looking at that and Devontae Adams might get a first and a third, maybe 2 seconds. Yeah, he's good. But is he as electrifying as McCaffrey? McCaffrey got that. So I think they're pretty much on par on what you would trade draft pick wise. And I think a first and a third is almost equal to a second depending on where you trade it. If I send them to a mediocre bad team for 2 seconds, or I send them to a pretty good team for a first, that first kind of loses a little bit of value. Let's just say towards the middle of the season, we got I don't know, a team like the Chiefs. They're okay, this young wide receiver thing isn't working. But Raiders, you bite half that contract or bite a third of that contract, we'll take it. And the Chiefs are going to run into some money a few years later, and they might try to rework his contract once he's there in order to pay him further down the road and not now. And
yeah.
Adams might be down for that because I got the best QB in the league throwing me the ball, so I'm gonna get my balls, and I'm gonna get open more because I can just go across this middle a little bit, and Travis Kelce's gonna go the other way, and now they're not gonna know what the hell to do, and either I'm gonna be wide the hell open or he's gonna be wide the hell open. So, in that kind of regard, interchange to the Chiefs, 2 seconds is, kind of equal to a first. Because that first is, you're basically the third, fourth, the last pick, anyways. Might as well just get bang up, 2 seconds, back to back or back to back years. I don't know. I think a team. I kind of have trouble finding out a team who would take him though, because that contract's so fat, massive.
Yeah.
It's what team needs a wide receiver that bad? And they're willing to pay that much.
Most teams have their number one already, so it's no one wants to take on that big. What, he's getting paid $40 million a year. No one wants to take that contract, and the Chiefs are the only team that really doesn't have a true number one besides Kelce, but he's not making that much money. So,
I mean, if we scroll through here real quick and we look at these teams and don't have a true number one,
I mean, maybe the Colts, maybe, but I feel like it's too early.
I mean, you might say the Jaguars don't have a true number one. Christian Kirk's a great number two.
Yeah.
Mediocre number one. Do they have the money? I don't know. We just keep looking through here, working through here. The Ravens don't have a true great number one. But these guys didn't want to pay Odell, and I didn't want to pay Lamar. And they already gave Lamar the bags. They're not paying for him again. Another team that could use it is the Giants. They don't have a really great number one.
No.
Can they afford it? Well, they didn't pay. They didn't pay Daniel Jones the entire bag, so maybe. I mean, would you consider the Steelers not having a true number one? I think they got a good. They got a good enough.
They
room.
got a good. They got Pickett. They got the what's the other kid? Deontay Johnson, right? Or
Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, and they got Viramuth, and they got the good tight end out of Georgia. Yeah, I mean, they may or may not be interested. I mean, again, Vikings, Commanders, they're not going to be interested. Packers, they don't need one. They already trade them anyways. Saints don't need one. Titans kind of need one, but they don't have a quarterback. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Carolina could use it. That's about it. I mean, unless you're going to send in the freaking Patriots, which, I mean, you're kind of going from one Patriot. I mean, do you don't like the offense the way it looks now in New England? Are you going in the Oakland? Are you going to like it in New England? No.
You're not going to like it with Mac Jones. Mac Jones can't even throw that far, to be honest.
So there's only a few teams that he can go to. And then it's of those few teams, will they even give him any money? So, I don't know.
We'll see, I guess.
Staying out west, though, a guy who played beginning of his career out west, a little bit not too far away from Vegas. You got Carmelo Anthony, Fisher retiring.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad because, that was kind of back in LeBron's class.
03 class. LeBron's the last one.
Yep. Unfortunately, Carmelo went to college and, cut a few years off his career going to college, but we're not going to hate on that. But how does that make you feel? You're more the NBA guy than I am. How does it make you feel knowing that another one bites the dust?
Yeah, man, it's hard. Believe it or not, Carmelo he was my second favorite player back in the day behind Allen Iverson. And it made my day when Allen Iverson came over to Denver Nuggets and we made it to the Western Conference Finals that one year against Kobe in the Lakers, and he got swept. But yeah, it's sad, man. LeBron's the last one in the 03 class. Carmelo arguably is probably the third best player in that class behind LeBron and D Wade. It just sucks that he never got to NBA Finals. And Chris Paul's been to a Finals, didn't win, but at least he could say he got there. But Carmelo's accomplishments, right? He's top 10 all-time scorer. Won 3 Olympic medals. I'm pretty sure he's like the Olympic record holder for scoring. If not, KD is. 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, future Hall of Famer, top 75 player. Some of our viewers might be too young to remember, but Carmelo was a walking bucket back in the day. I mean, the man had a bag, was a hezzy to the right, jump shot, or just a hezzy pull back, jump shot, or he'll just back you down endlessly, or he'll just grab rebounds and say fuck you and then push the ball up the court.
Mm-hmm. I kind of remember that.
Yeah, he was a hell of a player. Definitely, future first ballot Hall of Famer. We're gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss his and his scoring benches, but definitely one hell of a career for him.
That was one hell of an episode tonight. A little bit of a ranting for me in the NFL department. But gotta get off my chest to anyone who wants to listen. So I'm glad you're here to listen for me, bud.
Of course. You got any Any gems you want to drop? I know last episode you might have dropped some NHL knowledge, and I don't think it's turning out so well.
I don't know what you're talking about, my guy. I also said the Vegas Knights were pretty good, and the Vegas Knights are looking really good. So, you take your wins with your losses. I might have been a little high on the Hurricanes. It's currently 0-0 right now. They're holding their own. I'm hoping tonight that they can get one game and, head back home and, try to solidify something. Maybe take both games on the road. Carolina last year wasn't really hot at taking games on the road. They kind of changed that this season. So we'll see what they can do. I'm really hopeful for it. Hopefully the Hurricanes can figure something out and make a series out of it and don't get swept.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, hopefully the same thing can be said about these NBA teams. Hopefully they can give us another game.
Yeah, hopefully someone can do something,
We need something to watch between Wednesday and June 1st. So
yep.
Hopefully these teams can step up to the plate.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We had a great time tonight. Hopefully by the time we see you again, there's not double sweeps.
One can wish. See y'all.
See ya.